Hello again YouTube, this is Angelos, and if you were surprised when I made the first video, I imagine you'll be doubly if not quadruply surprised that I have made a second one and not taken 2.5 centuries to actually upload it. Okay, so this video will be a live thingy-bob. It will be something someone requested of me in Empire, which was to do the battle live to show my troop movements. Now, 3.5 years later, on a different game, consider that request fulfilled, my friend. And also, there's another reason for me doing this, of course, the fact that that replay corruption issue I mentioned in the previous video, if you watched it, of course, is still around and is still annoying the living piss out of me. So this is one way of getting around that. This is a 2v2, you may have noticed that due to the fact there are two armies on the field. And yes, there I go, just demonstrating that apparently you can draw a 7-foot pike out of your ass if you just click a button. My army consists of 6 Hellenic Royal Guard, 1 Nubian, 1 Cretan Archer, 2 Royal Peltasts, 1 Egyptian Light Cav, which I was just flinging around in circles like a lunatic, 3 Ptolemaic Cav as well, and I'm just going to draw my war face on the map so everyone is truly terrified. Roar. And yes, I am incredibly mature. So I don't even look at my opponent's army. As soon as I see that onager, I'm like, yep, gotta move, gotta get out of his way. I try to shift slightly to the left, so he can't be shooting at my main army the entire time. Unfortunately, by doing this, I turn my entire flank of my army to his onager and scorpions, and I get a row of scorpion bolts down my line, killing 50 men in about 1 hit. Not good odds, that. So this will be a demonstration, in my mind, of how to deal with artillery campers. And honestly, someone who brings 3 artillery and only moves like 2 foot in front of their original position is in fact a camper, I'm afraid. No way around it. I'm going to rush straight at him. So the first thing you want to do if you're facing this sort of army on a relatively flat map such as this, you want to take the advantage. If of course he's on a hill, slightly more difficult, and gladly he was not on a hill. So what I'm going to do is going to rush my phalanx line at him. I also send my light cav ahead to see if I can provoke him to do something silly. All he does though is he just moves his Spartans ahead of his artillery to cover them, which actually was my target with my light cav. I was just going to throw it into his artillery to kill it all. But seeing that, I just run it round in circles. He shoots a volley of arrows at it. I pull it just out of the way, and then I shift the angle of where my cav's facing so all his arrows land on the grass. My light cav, in fact, will be one of the most important units in this battle, which is slightly silly. Luckily for me, his main infantry body consists of 6 Spartans, so I will go mano el mano against them with my phalanx pikemen, my Hellenic Royal Guard, let's just say that. Mano el mano, I will completely obliterate Spartans, regardless of them being Spartans. They are not ideal for charging headlong into pike units like this. I also send my Ptolemaic cav up the hill just to gain a slight height advantage. I see his cav coming, I set them on trample, and I race downhill and head on charge straight into his men, which will obliterate the first of his citizen cav units in a matter of seconds. See, my archers also focus firing on his scorpions. One is in routing. In a matter of seconds, the second one will rout. Well, now I can see that he's going to engage me head on, which is what I wanted. I put all my phalanx guys one against his Spartans, as I mentioned. With all of his infantry engaged, there's a huge gap behind his men. My light cav will make good use of that. Come swinging round his right flank, his left flank, my right flank I should say. Go for that onager and knock it out. That's all of his artillery dead. Once I do that, I'm going to switch my archers to fire against his archers, just so I don't shoot my own men in the back, or shoot down routing artillery crew. As enjoyable as that would be, it's not particularly fruitful. So as soon as I charge into the onager unit, it routs. I then turn my cav round, or I will in a second, and hit that unit of Royal Spartans in the back. But by the time I get there, as you can see, it's already routing. Now up on the hill, my Ptolemaic cav is hardly taking any losses. I'm outnumbered by 1 unit, but they all charge head on into me, and I charge head on into them. You may have wondered why I did not swing 1 cav round. pardon me, run one cav round his flank. That was simply because I could see 2 more of his cav coming. So on that initial battle, if I had swung a cav round his back, the 2 cav coming to reinforce would swung into its back, and thus I would have been sandwiched, probably losing that cav unit. So a head-on battle in those sort of situations is the best way to deal with it. He realises he's losing, tries to fling his citizen cav back into the main fight to help out, but by now it's already lost. His Spartans have run home. He charges his citizen cav into the front of my phalanx. He's really got nowhere to run anyway. All of his citizen cav units will die, and I managed just to get my Royal Peltas into the fight for a matter of seconds, flinging their javelins in and making all the cav run off. Now all he's got left is his general unit now, and so I will do him the honour of shooting it to death. All I want to anyway. In fact he charges it headlong into me, which is nothing else he could do anyway. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed 3 Epirot archers engaging Pinks, so I send my light cav off to chase them away. At this stage, I did not realise that Pinks' cav force was just wholly engaged with the Epirot guy's cav in a big blob. You'll notice that when I pan my camera over. My throat's dry. Need a drink. Get one in a minute. Alright, so like I said, I'm just going to try and encircle this one Spartan and give it a glorious death. In fact, it doesn't get a glorious death, it dies within a matter of seconds, all getting impaled on long pointy sticks. Now I just want to say something about this video. There will be an extra segment on the end, not to do with this particular battle. It will be, well, I'll explain it when it loads up, but just in case you don't like surprises, there it is. It will happen in about 2 minutes. Probably under that. Okay, so like I said, Spartan General just runs straight in. There's nothing really I can say about that, because he's just wanted to die honourably, I suppose, is one way of saying it. My light cav's running down all of his archers. 1 light cav, 3 archers that aren't firing. Easy pickings. That light cav unit will get 3 experience chevrons in this battle, because it's killed about 2 archer units, an Onager, a Scorpion crew, hammered and anviled a Royal Spartan, and will kill 3 archers over there. So, like I said, it's actually the most important unit, in a way, in the fact that it kills a lot of things. So, by now it's all over and done with, as you may have guessed. The Epirot guy is engaged in the big blob. Here's the big blob. Everything's just blobbed up for all blobby goodness. There's not really anything I can say about that. There's a few units of Royal Hellenic Guard just isolated. And that's about that for my battle as well. The Royal Spartan is dead. No surprises there. Now this is an annoying bug. You notice I have to constantly keep shifting my pike units to try and get them in, to try and move them. Once they're engaged and there's routing units trying to run through them, they won't move until their whole line is solid. I know now that if I switch them out of pike formation I can actually move them. I did not know that at the time. I wanted to charge into the back of this unit for a glorious last charge, but unfortunately the person leaves.
Awesome.
And I agree with Pinks' statement there. I accidentally switched off the replay screen as well, by accident. If you wanted to know my stats, I lost 319 men, killed 1,740. My ally lost 455, killed 926. So I would say that was a relatively successful engagement. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. You may be wondering, what the hell is this? This is just me demonstrating what the AI is like in this game. Just a little taster, because I actually wanted to do a campaign, and I still kind of do, even though I've watched this, but I just wanted to show you if you were unfamiliar with what the AI is like. This is footage taken from a co-op campaign me and my friend are doing. He is playing as Egypt, I am just panning the camera around like a crazy moron. I'm not actually involved in this fight whatsoever. Right, so the AI is trying to take the city, as you may have guessed. It outnumbers my allies' army handsomely, and it has a gigantic skirmisher army. What does it do? It rushes all the levy freemen that are in front of its army into the main fight. Then, not thinking that is suitable enough force to push through, he sends all 10 of his skirmishers in as well, including the general, to sort of squish them all into a big sandwich of crap, basically. Now, not only will they not fight my allies' men, they won't even go for the central square, which seems to be the most obvious course for this like retardation that's occurring in front of your eyes at this present second. They will just literally just push their way through my allies' army like they're not there. Just run along on a jaunty stroll, like there's no one trying to chop their arms and limbs off. and they will just push through, and there's so many of them, they will in fact push through. Notice the two slinger units, that they're the only ones that actually do make it through relatively unscathed. They will just run along like nothing's happening, skipping over the rocks here. Oh, jolly good fun. The Levy Freeman unit, which actually does go towards the town square, is routing, so it's not going to do anything. They will then run all the way out of the other side of the settlement, not going for the town square, and run out of the other side of the town, as I just mentioned, and rout. So, what the hell? I can't even explain that. It's just so stupid. Oh. The AI in previous games was bad. This is just on a whole new level of stupidity. And it only actually does this on settlements that don't have walls. If it had walls, they would then go for the gates, try to take the gates over, then do this like retarded blob for the central square if they actually made it through the gate, which 9 times out of 10 they never do. Because they never bring siege gear and they just fling a load of fire pots at the gate, like that's going to work. It does, of course, work after a while, but you've probably killed almost 2/3 of their army by the time they take the gate down. Right, and that is basically all I wanted to show you. I'm running out of time, so goodbye guys, and until next time.